Welcome to episode 3 of our Learning from AI Leader series. This podcast series is powered by Rapid AI for Learning. Co-founders of Rapid AI for Learning, Dinesh Puran and Mohammed Sabsabi, interviewing leading voices in the AI for education space. Leanne Shelton, thanks for coming along to help us discover how we can use AI as a tool and still empower humans. Leanne, could you give us an introduction of what you do?
Sure. So, first of all, thanks for having me, guys. Second of all, okay. So my background is actually copywriting and marketing, and I've only just been in the AI space since April 2023. Typical thing, ChatGPT hit the scene. I write content for a living. What am I gonna do? And it was one of those moments of, do I dig my head in the sand, bury my head in the sand, or do I embrace this, my biggest competitor, shiny, new, free, and work out the best ways to use it? And I kind of went with that second one and then ran with it and actually became a AI trainer and coach, and actually went global as of last year. Basically, my whole view of it is about having a human first approach, having a holistic approach with AI. I come from a non-techie background, so I can speak to those people that aren't technical. And because of my copywriting and marketing experience, I'm often looking at the output of the prompts. So not just going, oh, look at the shiny possibilities and put these prompts in and then clicking publish or send. I'm also challenging people to critique it and go, all right, this is actually, will it hit the mark? Or am I just so caught up in the whole productivity of it all that I'm not thinking about how it's going to land? And that's pretty much why I'm teaching people. And I've written a book about it, AI Human Fusion, coming soon. And that is about this whole holistic approach with managing AI for individuals and teams.
We're really curious about how did you make that transition from copywriting into, the AI world, and what were some of the strategies that you used to achieve that?
So my very first, so basically what happened in April 2023, just to go back my little journey, I was in a get it done day with a networking group I was involved in, and ChatGPT came up in conversation. And I did say, look, I'm a little bit worried, but other people were even more freaked out. Like I was, I was just thinking about what that would mean for my business, which was 9 years old at the time. And look, what was annoying me the most was seeing all this lifeless AI generated content being pumped out and people thinking it was amazing. And I thought, all right, I've got this experience here. What if I threw together a webinar on how to use ChatGPT and still sound human? And I gave myself a month. Basically, it was unanimous during that networking event that people were like, yeah, I'd tune into that. Gave myself a month to look into it. I didn't know anything about prompt engineering at that point.
And can I ask, Liam, what did you do in that month? Like, what was your process, or what were the sort of the things you did to get up to speed with AI at that time? Given that, I guess that, that bit of apprehension, the bit of fear factor that you started off with.
Yeah, great question. I basically looked up on Amazon for some AI books, and there was like 3, two of which were so badly written. I just couldn't get past the first couple of pages. But one of them, it was basically prompt engineering, like beginners kind of thing. And it opened up my eyes to the whole concept of training the tool, because we're not used to doing that. We're used to being given, here's a software, here's a program, use it. We're not used to being, like non-techie people anyway, not used to being part of the program development. And that just made me go, okay, I can train the tool to understand my business, understand my brand voice based on samples, and then understand my customers. And this is what I teach in my training and mentoring, that this is the absolute core you need to start with. So I experimented with that. I listened to a couple little podcasts about AI stuff as well, but a lot of it just came down to experimentation myself and seeing what worked and didn't work. I bought one of those 1,000 prompts for $57, and so, okay, this doesn't give me anything. What's the learning from that? Well, cookie cutter stuff doesn't work. And yeah, that webinar, look, 150 people signed up to it. It was a free thing. And that really is what made me realize there's a need for this. I can bring my skills to the table, and, people are going to be using AI. I can't ignore that and say, no, just go to the human copywriters, basically just work with them. All right, you're going to use it anyway. Let me teach you the ways. And it's just been this journey over the last 2.5 years.
What was the trigger, Leanne, when you decided that, you know, I can make a career out of it, I can transition from copywriting into AI?
Well, after that webinar, I started changing the conversations on LinkedIn and everything. And then before I knew it, I was getting all these DMs saying, hey, can you come speak at my networking event? Can you speak at this conference? Can you go to Kuala Lumpur and run 2-day AI workshops on marketing with AI? And I'm like, okay, this is definitely becoming a thing. And I started losing less and less passion for my copywriting business. One, because this just lit me up. I've always loved futuristic stuff, but never felt technical enough to be able to really embrace it. But this is all accessible and I could do it. And so there's a bit more excitement, but also people, because of AI, they were seeing less and less value in my copywriting services. So that was starting to die off anyway. And I did go through a bit of this last year going, should I get a part-time job and do this on the side? But, it didn't work out. Things were freezes, recruitment freezes and stuff. I thought, okay, it's a sign from the universe to throw myself all in. And rather than being reactive, last year I started putting together my own program. So AI DIY Club, which I trialed for 7 months or so, presenting keynotes and workshops. And then this year I'm doing monthly masterclasses for low cost. And I've obviously got the book. It's really been this fun evolution. And now I'm like, I'm a copywriter by trade, and I use that with my AI, but now I'm an AI person.
Leanne, are there any obvious transitional skills that you use to, you know, to help you make the change or switch from copywriting to AI? Are there any were there any obvious overlaps for you at the time, or transitional skills that you can see now that you didn't see back then?
The first thing I did was offer ChatGPT editing. And look, I had maybe one person take that up because people don't know what they don't know. I thought, okay, that didn't quite work. It's just been a lot of experimentation. And then it was like, all right, can I offer one-on-one coaching with, let's create articles with AI, let's do it together. That kind of worked. And it's just evolved. And as I'm hearing what more people want, I moved more into team training because I'm seeing inconsistency in team members, some soaring, thinking they're using it amazingly, but misusing it, or creating potential breaches. Or you got those who are still ignoring it and freaked out, and those in the middle who are like, maybe touch it, don't do it enough, don't know what they're doing. And I've just, look, because I've been in business now for over 10 years or 10.5 years, I've used my experience with networking, showing up more on LinkedIn, changing my message, seeing what lands. I get a lot of comments now, people going, they like my position on AI. It's not just, here's another tool, here's another tool, here's another prompt. And that's what most of the AI experts out there are like. I'm all about keep it human with AI. Like, it may even sometimes seem like I'm anti-AI, the anti-AI AI coach, because I personally don't have it embedded in every aspect of my life. It's used as a starting point. And that's what I'm trying to teach people. Like, have it a part of your life, like just getting started at what's some ideas, and then use your critical thinking, and don't have it replacing your thinking, which a lot of people are doing.
I think that really resonates, Leanne. And one of the things that I've seen with LinkedIn posts is, it's unnatural language that you see coming through, and people saying things like, let's embark on our journey. And it's the stuff that you wouldn't say in conversation. And I'd love to know a little bit more about that, because it is great as a tool to sort of give you some ideas and maybe even to give you some structure to work with. But it's so important to have the human in the loop and to actually keep your voice. And how do you actually help find that balance for people?
This is so important. I had a little rant in my book, which is called AI Human Fusion. There's a little rant because as a copywriter, one of the biggest things we were asked to do was basically ghostwrite, write in the brand voice of the client. Sometimes that's why they didn't work with us. Oh, I can't see how you'll get that right. Other times, that's why they didn't continue with the project. Oh yeah, you didn't quite get it. So it's very ironic that ChatGPT comes on the scene and suddenly the whole emphasis on getting the brand voice right has gone out the window because of the whole productivity. And that's the whole productivity thing is what really annoys me, because it's usually that person's productivity, but not thinking about how it's going to land on the other side. And that is the big thing that a lot of people focus on. Oh, how's it helped me? Not how it's going to help the person who's receiving that email, receiving that
The end
marketing
user.
message,
Yeah.
everything like that, especially if you're going external, internal strategies, whatever. So with the brand voice, that's one of the things I say you have to train up the tool to understand. So give it samples of your writing that you feel really nails what you're all about. And then look, I've been using it for 2.5 years now. I can now say, I want to create this article. Here's the angle. I know what to ask based on my want and from experience. When there's been gaps, it's missed the mark. So I'm quite thorough with that initial prompt. It is now nailing my brand voice. I'm very comfortable with putting it out in the world, sounding like me. I've still reviewed it all through the process. And I always include a PS saying this is written in collaboration between ChatGPT and my human brain for that transparency that I've used it. And it's actually kind of a promotion of what I do, because it's like, AI wrote this. How good is it? You can't see any of those typical terms or words because I've trained it not to. And it was an hour pumped out. There's a thought leadership piece, but it sounds like me. I'm proud to put my name with it. And this is what a lot of people don't realize. They just go, oh, look, hey, I want this. Cool. How good's that? 5 minutes later, get up on LinkedIn. And everyone's going to just see right through it. We're all developing a sixth sense to AI generated content. It feels icky. We're just bland. You're losing that trust in those that do it. And this is why I'm saying, be careful. Make sure you've reviewed it, or a few other people have looked at it. Do they feel off? No. How can you change it? Add the stories, add different words. The human has been involved in the process. It's not a set and forget thing.
And I like what you said there about the transparency, because a lot of people have been quite reticent. I mean, everyone kind of knows that you've generated this post or you've generated this LinkedIn post using the AI, but it's their dirty secret. They don't want to necessarily put it out there. And I like that you're sort of talking about, I do put it out there and I say it's in collaboration with my human brain, or AI contributed to this part of the process.
Yeah, for me, look, I have gone through this little ethical dilemma over the last couple of years, because whenever I've used AI to help write, I'm like, hang on, I'm a writer. Is this kind of okay? Like, what does this mean? Does this mean I'm a fraud? Am I no longer a writer? And so it's been this little mindset game I've had to play around with. And the thing is, though, because I'm not handing over the whole process, I am involved. It just means my writing process it's just different now. My book, 90%, 95% written by me. That was very important. I did not want it to be an AI written book about AI, because that's what 90% of them are. I was very conscious whenever I did use AI, and I do actually, I mentioned this in the epilogue, and I'm going to have it in online resource. I'm going to be full transparent and show what prompts I used to get certain parts for the book, whether it was interview questions for the people I interviewed. Was it, I need to get started with this introduction, I can't get started, write me 2 to 3 lines in my brand voice, all of that? Or is it, hey, I just need to give something for this initial chapter because it's a topic outside my area, give me a starting point to help me then flow into it. So my processes have changed as a writer. And for me, as long as I'm transparent, I can that ethical dilemma is minimized. I feel much more comfortable putting it out there. And I think people like that I'm transparent. And I think that's what keeps that trust there.
It's a nice segue because Mohammed and I contributed to the book, one of the ethics
a little bit.
Just a small contribution, but we were very happy to be invited.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was great.
Yeah. And Leanne, it sounds like those examples that you've been sharing with us here are part of what is commonly known as the human-centered approach. Can you share a bit more about your understanding of what a human-centered approach to AI means?
Sure. There's a lot of hype, particularly overseas, because Australia, we're a little bit hesitant to embrace AI. We're like 17th in the world. But overseas, what I'm seeing on LinkedIn in particular is about this AI first approach. And it's like a badge of honor. Oh, look at AI first. We're an AI first company. And to me, it feels icky. I want everyone to see it from a human first approach. I don't want humans being replaced left, right, and center for the whole productivity thing. Because what happens if there's a scam, something goes down, you're relying on this fully AI automated process and there's no human experts around to manage it. That is a big no-no. Your whole business could go offline for however long it takes. I want the humans to remain part of the whole AI process. It's always having AI, like the humans driving the AI, seeing it as a tool. And this is the thing everyone keeps forgetting as well. AI is just a tool. There's still the fear of humans being replaced. I'm like, no, hang on. There's accounting stuff or software, like there's QuickBooks and Xero. We still have accountants and bookkeepers. There's ATMs and online banking, but we still want bank tellers for certain things. It's the same sort of thing. You don't want to replace the human experts completely. Even chatbots, have a chatbot on your website, great, but make it super simple to go to a human, or only have the chatbot as the initial step to really develop the human relationship when a human does make the call. This is how it needs to be embedded. There needs to be the human. I think ironically, human relationships are going to become even more important, especially if there's things like deep fakes happening. I haven't created a digital avatar of myself, even though some AI enthusiasts are like, look at this, how cool is this? I don't want to put it out there because I don't want to even put the thought that someone could write a script for me and pretend that's Leanne. I don't want that to happen. I want to be transparent. I want to be on presenting. It needs to be me. And same with phone stuff. I don't want to create a voice that's me. I want full transparency. This is Leanne's assistant speaking to you. That's just so important for the trust, because people, like from a security point of view, at one point you could have Zoom meetings and not even know if it's a real person or an AI. And this is where the human connection is going to be so important. Actually having human face-to-face meetings, not just all online. It's kind of an ironic thing. I think we'll end up going full circle and human relationships will become even stronger with all the AI stuff.
Yeah, we have a similar approach when it comes to a human-centered approach to AI training and keeping the human front and center. And I'm just wondering, how are you finding that to sort of strike that right balance in what you're doing, that sort of embracing the tech, but just making sure that messaging is still there in terms of the human being front and center?
So for the book, I came up with the habits framework, which works really well for my message. And basically what's involved in the habits framework, and habits, the perfect word, because we want to build positive habits with AI because our future generations depend on it, right? But basically what's involved in that is, so a holistic view to AI. H is for the humans. So that's the very first thing in the habits framework. Focusing on the humans, the human connection, human relationships, where the humans fit in, always remembering that first of all. And then there's the AI that comes in, and that is training up to support the humans. My little catchphrase is AI is here to enhance us, not replace us. So that's training it up so it's actually working in our favor, not replacing our creative thinking, critical thinking, job roles, whatever. Then we go into the BI, which is like business integration. And that part is all about the AI policies, which are very important to make sure from a legal point of view and, everyone's consistent with the process and you're being transparent, all that, as well as, the ethical responsible approach that we talked about in the book and, the IP side of things as well, intellectual property, where that fits in, copyright. That all needs to come into play. It's so important, but people are still playing in the AI prompt space. The final part of the TS in habits is tactical strategy. And that is how to apply all those things into your teams and making sure that everyone's being consistent. Everyone is, no one's feeling overwhelmed or left behind. No one's soaring ahead, but misusing it and being ignorant, working not just top down. The leaders don't have to have all the answers. It's having group conversations, team meetings. How are you using AI? Have like maybe an AI champion every week or every month. You find out what worked well for you with AI this week and report back to everyone. And it needs to be more of that collaboration and bringing and having buddy groups, a buddy system where someone is confident with someone who's not confident. So that's my framework. I think if we can think about AI in this whole framework, you're not just jumping around experimenting or sitting in the fear space or misusing it or whatever. It really needs to be this big whole strategic thing that no one's really looking at yet. And that's why I hope that the book makes people think of it a bit differently.
Leanne, when you present this approach to using AI to, people that you work with, and you're not talking about the latest features and, I guess the sort of technical elements and the latest tools and platforms and so on. What sort of reaction do you get? What sort of questions, what sort of comments do people pose when you approach AI from this particular lens?
Mostly it's extremely positive unless they just don't get it. And so those who don't get it, the ones that think AI is purely about prompts and memorizing prompts and productivity, they're stuck in that prompt and productivity headspace. So it's a little bit of an educational piece and explaining this needs to be a bigger thing. And I get this feedback. I had one person send me a DM a month or two ago saying, I've stumbled across your profile on LinkedIn. Thank you. You're the first person who is speaking about AI in the way that I feel aligned with. So many people are still, like I mentioned before, freaked out about the AI replacing them. They need to realize you're safe. It's okay. We've been through big changes, the internet, social media, we evolve, we work with it. Now you don't have an online presence. You just can't be like that, right? But even it's like another industrial revolution. It's just a whole way of thinking. You guys were talking about offline about whole education space is going to have to change. There's so many things that have to change, and it feels massive and scary. And this is why I'm saying everyone to just get into it now. Start playing with AI while it's the equivalent of a toddler. Don't think, oh, look, it's evolving so quickly. I won't even jump on board. The train's moving too fast. Because no, then you're going to be even more lost. It's like someone who's never touched social media. You go, here you go. And they have no idea how it all works. But if you've been, with the Facebook or LinkedIn evolution, you know what works and doesn't work, and you use it more effectively. It's just getting people started and not feeling overwhelmed. And so many people feel supported by my approach because I feel like, oh, I can do this. I don't have to overthink what a perfect prompt is. I know what I know. What if I just treat it like a human assistant, like a junior assistant? And that is such an eye-opener for so many people. And I just say to them, if you had a junior assistant, first day on the job, would you start shouting demands at them? Go, here, create this strategy, write this article. You're going to get rubbish from them. So this is why I say you do that whole onboarding process of training on your business, your brand, voice, and customer, because then they're going to have a holistic view of where you're coming from and who you're serving. Then they can do their job right. And once I kind of plant that seed, treat it like a junior assistant. It wants to serve you, but has no background knowledge. It completely changes their thinking. They go, this is doable. And that's what I want to help people with.
Yeah, I saw a post from you recently, Leanne, and I think that it resonated, and it was something around that everything's moving really, really fast in this space, and AI won't wait for you. It won't wait for the leader to sort of get on board. A lot of leaders have had a little bit of trepidation and have been waiting on the sidelines. They've either been overwhelmed or they've been waiting and watching to see what would happen. What advice would you give these leaders who are thinking about how to best implement AI into strategy?
I think the very first thing to do is have a conversation with your team. And there's a lot of this conflict of, from the IT department, what you should and shouldn't be using from a security point of view, which is definitely a very important thing to be aware of, by the way. A lot of people aren't thinking about that. It's got repercussions in itself. But apart from the IT conversation, there's probably people who are using AI but feel like it's this, dirty little secret, like, we talked about. Make it okay. Find out who is using it, how they're using it. Just starting that conversation and saying, okay, you're using it here. I saw you use it, actually. I know because that email came to me, obviously AI generated. Having that conversation of the best ways to do it instead. And and obviously bring in training. I know someone if you need that help. But honestly, it's not even thinking about these big, massive projects and throwing like $10,000 at something. It's just starting with the free version of your Copilot or ChatGPT and thinking about what's one thing I need to do today that AI could potentially help me with. Is it write that email? Is it come up with a rough plan? Is it come up with an agenda for a meeting? Just something small, and just brief it like your junior assistant and see what it gives you. And then if you're not happy with the output, you have a conversation with it like you would with a junior assistant. So you'd say, oh, that's not quite right. Or I kind of like what you said here. And quite often you don't realize how vague your brief was until you get rubbish back. So that's where you're like, oh, okay, I assumed that. Right. No, actually, I want a bit more like this, more like that. can you do this? Make sure the tone of voice is a bit more nurturing. Like say you're dealing with a client, a disgruntled client, it's a hard email to write. Just describe what you want the outcome to be. Just think about it in terms of having a conversation and not just getting the perfect prompt right up front. Just experiment with it and see where it goes. Just get your hands dirty. And it's not that scary. It does feel very magical. But what I also want to just remind people is there's this whole dopamine hit that you get when you get AI output. And it's like, oh my God, because when words just suddenly appear like magic on your screen, right? We still get this thrill. Like, oh, how good's that? How good's that? The trap to avoid is not hitting publish or send immediately at that point. What you need to do is use that dopamine as like fuel to bring in the human thinking and the human critiquing and everything to then go, okay, what next? How can I take the next steps with this? Because it's giving you that starting point. And that's how I really recommend use AI, as a starting point only, or at the end of the line, can you fine tune, not have it taking over the whole process.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just getting people to understand that, it can be used as a plug and play tool where you just put in some data, it gives you some data back, and then you can send that off or do whatever you need to do with that. But it's also about making sure there's some scrutiny, some critical thinking as part of the actual process. And this is something that we also come across a lot, that people ask, oh, you provide AI training, so tell me, which AI tool should I be using? And it's the wrong question to ask, right?
It is. Look, I use ChatGPT and Otter for transcribing and some fun little image creation tools. Like there's Photo Leap on my phone, and that is it. I honestly don't go overboard AI tools like you did mention before. A lot of people are like, oh, yeah, what tool, and what are 5 top tools?
Like
And
a
10
sense of
tools.
paranoia that,
Yeah,
or a FOMO factor, right? You're using a tool that I don't know about, and I need to know about it.
yeah. It's I kind of refer to it as like shiny AI syndrome, and it's like, oh, especially with updates as well. Oh, have you played around with this latest update? The ironic thing is that AI is meant to help with productivity, but you could actually lose productivity by constantly searching and play around with
Yeah,
tools.
yeah.
And literally an example, I had seen on LinkedIn this tool promoted by someone. How good's this? And I had a team training session lined up for later that day. So I went in, I said, okay, I've heard about this tool. Basically what it does is you put in your website URL, it scours it, it then pumps out 5 social media posts based on your website content. And I'm like, let's play around with it now. And it does the visuals as well. And literally one of the visuals it gave me from looking at my website, I identify as a female. I've only photos of me, a female, on my website. The image came back as a male with hands out like this in this business suit with no head. Literally a headless, presenter. And straight away I'm like, this tool is no good. I can't rely on this tool. And this is like being promoted and people are getting caught up in this hype. So I just say, look, calm the farm. Quite often ChatGPT, just that serves all the main purposes I want. And I use Canva for my images. I have the pro account. Canva AI, still getting there, but don't overcomplicate things by finding all different tools for different things. My little prediction is before long, it could be 6 months, could be 12 months. These big players like, Microsoft with Copilot and OpenAI, ChatGPT, look, they may absorb into each other anyway, or Google Gemini. These big players will just accumulate or accrue different tools for different things. So I've already seen that ChatGPT with, Sora with the text to video and, and DALL-E for text to, image. I'm just waiting for the day where I can just use one tool and that has all these tools embedded. And I don't have to waste hours finding tools that could have been created by university students, bored university or teenage students in their rooms without security, thought of security of anything. I prefer to wait for that before I play around different fun things, because do I even need, look, Sora was hanging out for that to come out, but I actually don't need Sora like text to video very often in my business. It might be cool to throw into a presentation, but it's not actually a everyday tool I need to play around with. I'm more about the words, so ChatGPT serves me perfectly there, and I don't need to go crazy.
Before we finish up, it would be lovely to just get a promo for your book. Where could the folks find it? When's it out? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Dinesh. So it's called AI Human Fusion, a non-techie, human-first approach to AI for busy leaders. And it pretty much, like I said, covers that framework. It's all conversational. How I speak is how I write, by the way, and the editors kept all that in there. Very non-technical, very fun, easy to consume book for the leaders to help you get over that overwhelm and feel in control so that you can lead your team with confidence when you're still struggling to get clarity yourself. It's coming out end of June 2025. And yeah, pre-orders are available if you want to pop into my website or Amazon. You can find it on Amazon. So my website's humanedgeai.com. And I feel like it's going to be a massive game changer for people because it is very accessible and just helping people realize they can do it.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Leanne, thank you so much for being part of the Learning from AI Leaders series and for coming along today and sharing some really sensible, practical insights, and also sharing, I guess, your own personal experience as you moved from copywriting to now become an AI trainer and author with AI Fusion.
Thank you. It's been fun.